Hello, everyone. If you found this video, that means you are probably looking for a solution to installing Windows on a Apple Mac device. Better said, an Apple Silicon device running M1 to an M5 processor, enabling you to run Windows applications, better said, the Windows OS, and use those apps natively. Things are gonna be a little bit different in the Windows installation that you are used to, mainly because we're gonna be installing the ARM version of Windows, which does run x86 applications, no problem. Might have some slowdown to it due to translation of the computer architecture. I compiled this little list that we're gonna go through real quick. The things that you will need for this to work is going to be obviously an Apple Silicon-based device, such as a MacBook or Mac Mini, iMac, any of those, and a Broadcom account, which is required, and it's going to be free. The software that we're going to be downloading is called VMware Fusion, which is completely free for non-commercial use, but that Broadcom account is required. And if you are planning on using your Windows installation on the long term, you are going to have to acquire a license for that as well, which is gonna cost up a little bit, but if you do some scouring on the internet, you will find licenses for like 20 bucks or so. So let's get into it. So we're gonna start off by downloading the Windows ARM image or ARM image, and we're gonna be doing that by going to the link that is gonna be found in the description below, and it's gonna bring us to this Microsoft page. And this is the regular page that you would normally find your installation assistant, installation media creation tool, or just plain normal x86 ISO file. What we're gonna be wanting to do is go down a bit, and right above the prompt that allows you to download it for x86 devices, you're gonna find a Windows 11 ISO for ARM 64 devices. So what you are gonna be wanting to do is gonna go here. It's gonna present you this page over here, and it's gonna prompt you for a display which you can fill out to determine what edition you need, language, uh, region, locale. And as soon as that's done, you're going to be able to download it. You're going to be able to download the image for the ARM processor. Once you do that, it will appear in your downloads folder down here. I already downloaded it, so I'm going to skip it on this. Just quickly going to check. All right, and the next link that you'll find in the description is going to be the Broadcom support page. And I gotta say, this site is a little bit of a mess. It's kind of hard to find the right tools in here, but all you are gonna have to do is gonna go to My Downloads, and it's gonna present you an option which says free software downloads available here. So you want to go there, and once this page shows up, you're gonna look up the term Fusion. You're gonna hit search, and it's gonna show up with VMware Fusion. So what you want to download is going to be the 25H2 version, and then to be specific, the H2U1 version, which is the latest. It's got like a Surface Pack on it. So it's going to go straight into your downloads folder. It's going to start downloading. And just to confirm, it's VMware Fusion for Intel-based and Apple Silicon Macs. So this is the one that you are going to be wanting to download. So while that's going on, it's gonna be done pretty fast. Gonna go to our downloads folder, And we're going to start off with starting the installation for VMware Fusion. And just a quick installation. And it's going to prompt you for your password. And then we're just going to go through the installation. It's going to ask you to enable it in accessibility, which is a requirement. I'm just going to give it my fingerprint real quick. You have to make sure this is turned on to enable all the things that are required. And it's gonna present you the following screen, which is gonna prompt you for the installation method. All you really have to do right here is gonna go back to that Windows image that you downloaded, and you want to drag it in right here, so you can tell it's loaded in now, and it's gonna be a continue for that on the next. I personally like to, well, actually, you have to enable Secure Boot. It's a requirement for Windows 11. So you want to make sure you have this one checked over here. And you're going to continue again. And on the next page, Windows 11 requires a TPM module on modern computers. And it's going to simulate a virtual TPM module here, but it's going to need a encryption key. You can think or you can create one yourself if that's what you really want, but in most use cases it's gonna be just fine to generate one. You are gonna want to make sure this one is checked to remember the password in the macOS keychain. Reason being is if you uncheck this as soon as you turn off the machine and you want to start it up again, it's gonna prompt you for the encryption key, which if you didn't write down is gonna be impossible to start up the machine again. So you did all this work for nothing. So it's very important to keep this one checked. So you want to make sure to continue after that. And what I like to do is change or customize the settings afterwards. It's going to prompt you where you want to install it. I just leave it at the default location, which is perfectly fine. And you're going to click save. So because we entered the setting to customize the machine, it's going to prompt us with the following. And this is a settings menu where you can declare processor cores or memory or whatever you like. But it's kind of useful to set it at least to 4 cores, in my opinion, just to keep the machine, the virtual Windows machine, a bit snappy. And I like to go with 8 GB of RAM just to keep everything snappy. One of the things I would also recommend doing is going into display and using the full resolution for the Retina display. This makes it so that if you're using your own MacBook display, it's gonna look really fresh and clean as if it was made for it. So I like to keep that one on, and I personally turn off the auto adjust. Otherwise, every time you're gonna start the machine, it's gonna change your scaling settings in Windows, which can be a hassle. You have to keep changing it, otherwise everything's gonna look blown up, really big or either small. So once you got those set up, there's not really a lot more that you have to do. You can go through the settings if you like. You can check out if there's anything that you would want to see changed. But in general, just for basic machine functionality, this should be good. So I'm going to close out this window. I'm going to open up VMware Fusion again. And as soon as I'm going to start up this machine, it's going to prompt me to press a key, just like the regular Windows 11 installation process would be. Just keep in mind you have to do this in like 2 or 3 seconds. So as soon as you click the play button in the middle, it's going to start up and you're going to press like spacebar and you will see the Windows logo appear. good to know. Once you're in the virtual machine, your mouse cursor gets locked in here. So right now it isn't doing it, but normally it would. I'm just gonna enlarge the screen a little bit so it's easier on the eyes, and we're gonna verify that the settings that are shown are going to be correct for our use case, which in my case they are. All right, so it's going to ask you, just like any regular old installation, if you agree with it. And when I mentioned it, if you're going to use it for the long term, you might want to invest into a product key, because this is going to be the step where it's going to require you to, well, ask you to fill it in. It's not going to require you. I believe without the product key, your installation will work for 180 days, but I could be wrong on that. Just keep in mind that once it expires, a lot of things will get locked down, such as customization or anything like that. But in most use cases, if you're just going to use it to run like certain apps, it should be perfectly fine to click the button that you don't have a product key. So that's what we're going to do. And this is where it's going to prompt you what version you want to install. In my opinion, it is best to go with Pro because you're not paying for the license anyways, and it allows you to do a few more things, such as have an offline account, which is useful if you don't want to be locked into the Microsoft ecosystem. I'm going to click Next, and we're going to accept this. And it's going to tell us it's wants to know where we're going to install it. Well, there's one virtual disk, going to be the disk 0. I'm going to click Next, and this is where we're going to click Install. And this is where we're going to have to wait for about, I'd say, 5 minutes. So we're going to go ahead and skip that part, and I'll be back with you guys in a second. All right, so it's been about 5 minutes, and the installation has almost finished, and it's gonna ask us to run through the rest of the setup, just like it would on a normal computer or normal Windows computer, I'd say. Um, there's going to be a few steps different, having to deal with non-network connectivity, but I'll show you guys along the way how we deal with that. So we are just want to go ahead and continue the setup as we would. It's going to ask you where you are living, or at least what country you are living in. It's going to ask if you want to add a secondary keyboard layout. And this is the part where you would normally get stuck, because the virtual machine needs an additional set of drivers to set up network connectivity, which it doesn't have installed, and we're going to have to do that. But in order to continue on it right now, we're going to have to skip this screen, specifically this screen right here, because it doesn't allow us to continue. So what we are gonna be doing is opening a command prompt, and we do this by pressing the key combination Shift F10, and as soon as you do that, this screen will pop up, and the command we are going to be running is going to be start space ms colon excuse me, start ms dash cxh colon slash local only. Soon as we run this, it's gonna skip the setup parts. We're just gonna call it admin by default. We're not gonna set up a password in this because our MacBook or our macOS device is protected anyways. So unless you are dealing with really secure stuff, I wouldn't bother setting up a password for it. And we're gonna click next, and it's gonna skip the part that requires us to have an internet connection, which makes it a lot easier. And as soon as it's going to be ready, I'm going to be showing you guys on how to install the drivers so your macOS Windows installation will function properly and everything will be enabled. So we're going to say no to the data gathering of Microsoft. It was having some issues there. Just gonna make sure everything's unchecked. I'm gonna click accept, and we'll be launched into our Windows installation here. Just gonna wait for the machine to finish doing its thing. And first thing we want to do is go up with our mouse and until we see the top bar, and we want to click on Virtual Machine and then proceed to install VMware tools. It's going to ask you if you are allowing to insert a virtual CD-ROM drive to the guest machine. We're just going to click install, and it's going to show up with a pop-up any second here, which we allow to run by clicking on it and running setup.exe. And it's going to ask you to confirm, which we are going to. We're just going to go through the installer. So we're just going to click next. A typical install will do. I'm going to install it. And it's going to flash the screen a couple of times, indicating it's installing the video drivers. I'm going to click finish. Good to notice, or good to note, I'd say, is that we have network access now, so that part is fixed. And it's going to prompt us to restart the machine, which we're going to do. There we go. And now that's wrapped up, we can quickly configure our video driving. All right, well, that's wrapped up. What I'm quickly gonna do is gonna make or minimize the screen and maximize it again. And what this should do normally is set the right display resolution, which this time it doesn't. Normally it would. I'm just gonna set it manually for this occasion. And as you can see, we have a fully functional Windows machine running inside our M5 MacBook. So this functions like any other machine. The only difference being that if you are running non-native ARM programs, it's gonna have some slowdown to it, which isn't too bothersome. I mean, I don't really notice it that much. For me, the things I need to do with it function just as well as I expect them to do. Uh, I can imagine that certain applications will have more issues with it, but in my use case, it is perfectly fine. So I hope this tutorial was helpful for you guys. And if there are any questions or you need help with anything, I'd like to hear from you.